Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. So in this video we're going to look at the presentation of argumentative composition. So argumentative composition is one of the composition that comes in paper 1 on the first part, where you're supposed to choose one question from about actually I don't even know, maybe they are about 6 or 5, so yeah, they are 6 somewhere there. So you have to choose only one question for section A. Then section B is a freestyle question, whether you like it or not. Let me just say not a freestyle question. It's a compulsory question where you're supposed to answer whether you like it or not. So we are looking at the argumentative composition as other composition. They have structure like the introduction, the main body, paragraph, as well as the conclusion. But this one, interestingly, it has the counter argument paragraph. So for the counter argument paragraph, it's optional. You can put it or you can't put it. So you need to know the definition of an argumentative composition, and you need to know how to write it. It's a very simple composition that you may choose in an exam to write. So in talk of an argumentative composition, this one is a piece of writing where you take a clear position. So what I mean about clear position on a topic that you want to stand. For example, I have these questions here. For example, we can talk about school uniforms, isn't it? School should require, let me just talk about uniform. Should uniform be abolished in schools? Argue for or against. So under argumentative composition, there are only two stands, and from those two stands you have to choose one. So you have to argue for or against. You have to argue for or against. So if you are arguing for or you are arguing for, you are agreeing to the question. Okay, agreeing to the question that surely this one should be abolished. Then if you are against, meaning you are disagreeing to the motion. For example, if we say education is a preparation for life, let me just give you an example of this one here. By saying education is a preparation for life. So for this motion, you have to argue for or against. So you have to choose only one position if you are going to argue for or you are going to be against. Like the way enemies, they are against of what we do. So meaning to say, if education is not the preparation for life, meaning you are against that. Then if education is a preparation for life, you are agreeing for. So you have to choose only one part. That is what argumentative composition is. Now, this is very, very important because once you choose one stance, whichever side you are going to be, or whichever side you are going to choose, or you are going to argue for, or you are going to be against, here you are going to give the reasons. You need to give the reasons. So this is A and then S. Going to give the reasons as well as the evidence to support your position. And also the evidence. So you need to give reasons as well as evidence to support your position. And those evidence that you are going to give, or the reasons, they must be facts whereby you are convincing the leader to say, truly, this is what this one is met. Let's say, for example, this one is just a general question. If I ask you, why don't you drink water? And then you just say, no, I don't drink water. I don't drink water, without giving a reason. You have to give a reason why you don't drink water. Or the reason why I don't drink water, this is because this and this. Or why I don't drink carbonated drinks, because it contributes to this and this and this and this and this and this. You are giving reasons as well as the evidence for that. So that is what it means. Then apart from giving reasons as well as the evidence, you need to consider the opposite side and show it is weak. So you have to consider it and show it that the other opposite side is weak. For example, education is a preparation for life. What it means here, I can say, if someone is not educated, I'm going to ask myself, if I choose, I'm going to argue for. I'm not going to be against that, but I'm going to argue for. So I'm going to ask myself, if someone is not educated, what is going to be the challenges that person is going to face? Number one, in terms of career employment, is not going to be employed. Apart from that one, the level of literacy, you know that. Apart from that one, even misunderstanding, someone is not even is not even educated. Apart from that one, since it is saying preparation for life, as you are being educated, you face many challenges and you are going to be equipped for those challenges. So in fact, even when you're writing this kind of composition, which is argumentative composition, you have to include something like the statistics and also predict for the future by giving facts as you are showing your reasons as well as the evidence. Make sure to show the other side that it is weak. That's the main point that you need to show. Not whereby you're writing the argumentative composition and you're on both sides. No, you have to choose one side. Not whereby you say, when someone is educated, this is going to happen. Then from there you say, even if someone is not educated, is going to be successful in future. No, meaning to say you don't know which side you're supporting. So you have to choose only one part, then you provide the reasons as well as the evidence to support your motion. So here the goal is to make sure that you convince the leader, and your composition should be eye-catching. So like I said on the part of the introduction, so you need to know what you should put in introduction. For example, you need to give sometimes you need to give some background. Okay, some background. What I mean about some background, for example, we're talking about why education is a preparation for future or for life, or education is a preparation for life. Then I'm arguing for. I'm not against, but I'm arguing for. So here, by giving some background, I'm going to say, according to the history of education in Zambia, long time ago, or many years ago, when people are not educated, they were like this and 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 this. But you have to stand on one side, not whereby you say, long time ago, even if people were not educated, they were getting jobs. Meaning to say you are against of education being the preparation for future. So you have to give some background. Apart from giving some background, you need to make sure that you start with your introduction, like I totally agree. That is when you are arguing for, or I totally disagree with the motion. In that way, it's going to help. So that is the way you're supposed to, like, let me also give you totally, or I totally. You're giving I totally. Okay, I totally agree, or you can say I totally disagree. I totally disagree. So those things you have to know them. I think there is only one single S here. Yeah. I totally agree or I totally disagree. Then let's come to the main body part. The main body part, what should you put in your main body part? You need to give main reasons. So here, give the main reasons and provide evidence. So main reasons and provide evidence. Okay? And provide evidence. That is what you should do in your main body. For example, you need to give facts. You need to give facts about the statement. So let's say, for example, if you are arguing for that education is a preparation for future, you have to give the fact that, let's say, for example, if someone is not educated, can someone who is not educated be a lab technician? Or can someone who is not educated or who haven't done a skill or a training for doing surgery, can he do that? He can't do that. So you need to give facts. Okay? Apart from giving facts, you also need to give statistics. So you have to give statistics to support your evidence. Then we also have this part here where we are having the counter argument, although it's not part of many different types of composition, but on this part, what it means about counter argument. For counter argument, here you need to show that the other side might say, by showing, although it's option, but yes, more like a contradiction, by showing just a slight contradiction by saying, let's say, you want to say the other side might say this and this and this and this and this and this. For example, this may apply when you're writing about, let's say, use of chlorine. Is use of chlorine important? Argue for or against. Then you're going to say some researchers says not some researchers says not only chlorine can kill 100% germs, but also boiling water can do what? Can kill germs as well as bacteria in that way, if you want, but it's optional. Then in your conclusion, what should you put in your conclusion? Your conclusion, by the way, you are summarizing what you have written in the main body. You're summarizing your main points that you have written on your main body. Then sometimes you can also restart or restate your thesis. So you can start your thesis or your main point or your stance. You can stand or you can restart your thesis in a new way. Let me just say in a new way. So here you can also give a recommendation or your own opinion by saying, I feel like when this is done, we can prevent, let's say, for example, is the use of condoms in schools important or not important? Argue for or against. Or should the use of condoms by school going children be abolished? Argue for or against. So at the end, you're giving the conclusion. So if you are saying you are agreeing that, or you are disagreeing, no, the use of condoms by school going children should not be abolished. So what are you going to conclude? You can just say, in conclusion, to prevent future pregnancy and transmission of other infections. School-going children should use what? Condoms. Not only that, it can also make them to fulfill their career in that way. Just a conclusion here. We can say finally, or to sum up in that way. So I have these examples. So for the first part, should school uniforms be abolished? Argue for or against. Should school uniform be abolished? Argue for or against. So when they say should school uniform be abolished, you need to understand the question, because sometimes the way the question itself is and the way you are writing the composition, when they say should be abolished, should we remove school uniforms? That is what the question is saying. So if you say you argue for, meaning you are agreeing to say we should remove school uniforms. But why should we remove the school uniforms? But I'm not saying you have to choose my part. You have to choose the part that you are comfortable with. So if me, I can just go, I'm just going to choose the part where I'm going to be against of abolishing the school uniforms. Okay? Because you can't know if someone is a student or is not a student. So many of the points, like we have the thesis here, which is saying schools should require uniform because they reduce bullying and help students focus on learning. What it means, what the statement means is this: someone is going to come with a miniskirt, someone is going to come with a htenge, then they will start bullying at her. So that one is going to reduce bullying. Another reason we can choose is uniforms make all students look similar, so there is less teasing about clothes. So you never find someone saying, oh, my uniform is nicer than yours. No. Then from there you're able to identify that this is a student. If someone comes with no uniform and then is sitting in classroom, you're able to identify that that one is not a student in that way. And then reason number 3, students spend less time worrying about fashion and more time on schoolwork. You find that if they allow students to go with clothes, not uniforms, you find that there will be competition. If this one comes with a miniskirt, this one is going to come with bum short or whatever. So it's going to be like a competition, and students won't focus much on their education. So that is what it means. So this one here, we are disagreeing, or we are against the motion. Okay, we are against the motion. We are not agreeing that uniform should be abolished. And then in terms of the counter argument, you can start by saying some uniform limit self-expression, but students can still show personality through activities, behavior, and achievements. It's very, very interesting. Another one, we have the use of phones in school. Should the use of phones in school or in schools or in class be abolished? Me, I'm going to agree. You are a grade 12, argue for. We are going to argue for. So for grade 12s, you're not for grade 12s or grade 10s, you're not supposed to use your phones in class. So these are the reasons. Students should not use. So we're talking about the thesis now. Thesis, I'm not talking about thesis, but thesis. Students should not use mobile phones during lessons. That's the main point that we're going to introduce. Then the reasons why: phones distract students from listening to the teacher. Maybe the teacher is teaching, you are busy on TikTok or you are on social media platforms. You're not going to get the concept, or you're not going to concentrate on what the teacher is teaching. Then apart from that one, they can be used to cheat during tests. Some, they use phones, they use AI to answer questions for them without using their head. So this is very bad, because you're not using your head. Even if you get 100%, you get 100% of something you don't know. So this is very bad. Okay, but from that one, it's a way of laziness, of showing laziness. If someone doesn't study, it's going to use a phone to, or some gadgets, they have answers in them. So someone is just going to use the gadget or a phone to answer the questions. Then when it comes to the part of counter argument, so even though phones can be we know phones, they are very nice in terms of researching if you're using them nice. So that's part of contra argument or counter argument. So even though phones can be used for research, schools can provide other sources that are easier to control in that way. Then for example number 3, let's talk about sports. Should we include sports in schools or we abolish them? Okay, so here we are agreeing for, then on this part here, every student should take part. So we are agreeing, we are saying should school engage in sport activities? Should school or schools engage in sports activities? What are you going to say? Are you going to agree for, or are you going to be against for this motion? So this part is for arguing for. We are agreeing to this motion. So it's good. We can also try the other part of disagreeing. So every student should take part in at least one school sport. And then the reasons we have: the first one, sport improve health and fitness. As you are learning, blood is circulating, at least, yeah, you are going to become fit because you are doing the exercise. There is more circulation of blood and you are excreting more toxics or toxins. And for reason number 2, they teach teamwork and discipline. So if you are involved in sports, you're going to develop that art of teamwork, because where there is a team, there is discipline, and there is a part of working together. And then when it comes to the part of counter argument, some say, you can also say, some say sports take time from studies. Instead of you studying, you go and do sports, but you need to stand on your side. So when you say some says sports take time, without including the last sentence here, meaning to say you have gone now on to another argument. So you have to say, but good time management allows both study and exercise. So that's all for this video of argumentative composition. Thank you very much for watching, and remember to subscribe for more videos like this.